All right, we are live for another Travel Tip Tuesday, and today my guest is Christopher Lau with Lau Travel, and he has successfully escaped the 9 to 5, and I'm so excited to talk with him today and pick his brain about just how he did that, hear a little bit about his story. He is actually in Bangkok right now, and we're about 12 hours difference. It's actually Wednesday over there, but I'm really excited to have him on. Thank you so much, Christopher, for coming on today and speaking with me.
Thank you for having me. I know it's late for you, so I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. No, I love to hear about this topic, and I know it's something that's on the brain for a lot of Americans or people just all over the world in general. So I'm really excited to delve into it. But before we delve into it, I would love for you to explain just who you are, where you came, like where were you from, how you kind of got started, and we'll go from there.
So yeah, my name is Christopher Lau. I'm a full-time YouTube travel blogger, content creator, and I do a lot of stuff on Instagram also. I originally was just an average 9 to 5 in the corporate world. So I have a background in the sales industry, right? I've worked at a lot of different companies in the sales industry. I started my career at Quicken Loans, so I sold mortgages in Michigan for a couple of years. Then I ended up going to New York, and I worked for a few years in New York City at like Groupon and a couple of other tech companies. And then I ended up driving my passion, which was tennis. I love tennis, and I figured that San Francisco or California is a good place for tennis and sales. So I ended up moving to California and had that 9 to 5 grind for, I'd say, another 4 years, playing a lot of tennis. Essentially, I don't want to say I had no real direction in life, hanging out with friends, going on dates here and there, no actual direction, you could say, in life. And it was repetitive. It's the typical repetition that I had of getting up, jumping on the BART train, same thing in New York, getting up, jumping on the MTA, going to work, having a coffee, having the almost same conversations that I've had for 10 years. And sales is really cyclical. So like being in the corporate, like sales industry, a lot of people, it's tough. I'll be honest with you. It's tough for a lot of people. You see people come and go pretty quick. You see people who are 50, 60 years old trying to hit their numbers, and you see a lot of things. You see a lot of stress, you could say. So being in that environment for 10 years, it was good. I did well. In a lot of the positions, I did do well, but the type of people that I was surrounded by didn't really tickle my funny. A lot of salespeople, they have the worst reputation. I'd say there's a good 5% of them who are honest and upfront, and we do the job well and we do it right. But there's also a lot of those people who they want to have the thirsty Thursdays, and I'm at my desk crushing my numbers, and it's 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. on Thursday, like, hey, have a beer. I'm like, I am really focusing on X, Y, and Z. Like, I just don't, I get it, but like, for people who don't hit their numbers and anything like that, they don't have the excuse at the end of the month or quarter to the manager saying, it was too many thirsty Thursdays we had, and I'm sorry I didn't hit my numbers. And so like, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of stress. I've been through a lot. And one quarter at LinkedIn, surprisingly, LinkedIn was the best company that treated a lot of people right. So props to them. It was the toughest job for me to leave too. But I had the biggest sales quarter of my entire career at LinkedIn. I made a lot of money in 3 months. And typically I buy myself, or I treat myself to something, right? I literally buy myself something ridiculous, like an Xbox or whatever it is, and a ton of games, something ridiculous. Yeah. And I did a lot of domestic travel. This is in 2016. And I ended up, I haven't done international travel. I never really internationally traveled because I had lost my passport for like 7 years in a move. And I was like 22, I lost my passport somewhere. It was terrible. But I didn't really care. So I did domestic travel. It was lost. I wasn't arrested for fraud or anything like that, or criminal activity. So like, I wasn't too worried, I guess, at that point, because I didn't really think about it. But I had the biggest quarter of my sales career, and I wanted to treat myself to something big. And I said, you know what, how would I travel internationally? How about I buy myself a one-way ticket somewhere, or not a one-way ticket, but buy myself like a 10-day trip, do a solo trip. A lot of people talk about backpacking, going to Southeast Asia, everything. And I wanted to experience it. So I go on YouTube. I found this vlogger who I became friends with recently, Lost LeBlanc. I don't know if people have followed him, Christian LeBlanc. I'm buddies with him. And I found his channel back in 2016, and I found his Thailand videos. So I ended up buying a passport. I expedited it. The money was nothing. I did really well. Bought an expedited passport. I got it in like 5 days, 6 days. I bought a 10-day trip to Thailand with a GoPro, and I just decided to make a fun video and just capture my memories. It was from my own documentation. Little did I know I got back, because that 10-day trip in 2015 or 2015 changed my life forever. I had the travel bug. I missed being in the tropics. I miss the feeling of just, you didn't know what was going to happen next, in a way. I miss that uncertainty. And it was exciting too, like it was so new to me. Like just being in Thailand by myself, first time, and I had it bad.
So Thailand was that was where you went. That was where you originally went.
For 10 days. And then I ended up going back to LinkedIn, knowing that I couldn't be in this corporate industry. I don't know what it was, but whenever I quit LinkedIn, I knew I wanted to just travel for a long time. I didn't have the mindset of escaping the 9-to-5 or making it into a travel vlog or anything like that. I just wanted to get out and just travel. So 4 or 5 months passed at LinkedIn. I watched Christian's vlogs. It was terrible, for 2 to 3 hours a day at my desk. I had 3 monitors. So I had one mini monitor where I was just watching these travel vlogs in Bali, in Indonesia, in Thailand, all these places, and I'm just sucked in. And being on YouTube, the travel vlogging, I felt like I was with them. Like I was able to tell that, like I felt like I was with them in these videos, like experiencing it with them, because the way that they captured and tell the story, I really felt engaged. And I was getting deeper and deeper, and my numbers weren't doing as well on LinkedIn. I felt really bad. And one day I had to quit. I remember booking like an African safari. I planned out a 4-month journey around the world. So it was in Australia. It started in Southeast Asia, went to Africa for a 9-day safari, then Europe. So I ended up quitting LinkedIn, and I did that for 4 months with just a GoPro again. I made some really, really bad videos, but in that 4 months, I realized what I really wanted to do. In that 4 months, I met a lot of people. All the experiences just built. And I figured when I got back, I'm gonna run out of money, right? Once I got back to the corporate desk job, I was gonna sacrifice playing tennis. I wasn't gonna play tennis anymore. I didn't care about hanging out with friends or anything like that. I wanted to get my photography, videography. I wanted to get everything better, because I realized I wanted to travel and just take photos and do Instagram stories like everyone else. And it's a typical thing that travelers do. Even if you're not an Instagrammer, if you're not a YouTuber, people take photos, they take pictures, they do stories and tag these places. But why not make a brand out of it, right? The 4 months that I traveled, I was posting on IG consistently, and it started growing. So that kind of inspired me in those 4 months. Why not? Maybe I can do something with it. So I went back to a desk job. I found a job. I did interviews at the end of that 4 months, the world trip. I was doing interviews when I was in Italy with 2 or 3 companies in San Francisco. So I wanted to prove to my dad. Like, my dad's Hong Kong, he's Chinese. So telling him quitting my job and all this stuff, he was like, what? Like, you can't imagine.
Yeah.
So, but I told him my strategy. I told him I was going to get a job. I was going to do interviews at the end of this trip. And I was very successful at that. My process was so smooth that the day I got back on Saturday from this 4-month trip, Monday I had 2 final interviews, and by Wednesday I had 2 job offers. So I was strategic when I did it, and I got into a job right away back in San Francisco, and I had my head low. All I did was save money. I got my editing better. I got my photography better. I was at this company for about 10, 11 months. I absolutely despise this company. And that's one of the reasons that also drove me to get everything better. It was a sales role, and it was a sales role that I needed to drive me away from corporate, like the industry. It really told me how much I hated it due to the environment I was in. The way that the management team treated the sales reps was one of the least professional places I have ever worked at. If you guys want to, I'm not going to say any names, but you can find them on my LinkedIn profile. Let's just say the name rhymes with, I'm not going to. Check them out on my LinkedIn profile if you're curious. And I needed that, though. I literally needed that I didn't want to be there. So I just literally laid my head low. I was barely hitting my numbers, but I would go home. I would get my photos better. I would get my editing better. I would watch vlogs. I would build my knowledge and like get good at something, because you have to find value, right? You need to be able to pitch to hotels. I wanted to stay at all these cool hotels for free and show the world, like, especially in the US, the beauty of Southeast Asia, the beauty of the world. A lot of the people in the US, I hate saying this, they don't like stepping out of their comfort zone. When people talk about traveling in the US, from my experience at least, everyone talks about going to Mexico, going to Cancun, you know, getting drunk in Cancun. I'm doing a big trip internationally to Mexico again. I'm like, what? Like,
yeah,
great.
no, it's Mexico, Canada, and the Caribbean. And that's actually all of those places. It's funny that you mentioned that, because all of those places didn't used to require a passport before. So there was like a huge surge in like 2007, where I think it was 2007, 2008, where they required passports for those countries. And then there was all of a sudden a surge in the passports in the US, where before we were only at like 20-something% of Americans with passports. And now we're at like 42%, which some people may think is a lot, but that's actually very low compared to some countries. Like Canada, I believe, is like 67%. In Europe, it's like 72%. So definitely exactly what you said. There's definitely a closed-mindedness when it comes to that in the US.
So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to really, like, that was one of the inspirations, is show the beauty of the world, especially Southeast Asia, show that it's worth the 22-hour flight, because your money and dollar will go crazy far. And I've been in Mexico a couple of times. I could be upfront with you and honest with you from my experience and what I've, like, the people in Southeast Asia, depending on the countries, especially the Philippines, are a lot nicer. The Philippines are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my entire life. You could be lost solo traveler and people will just come up to you to try to help you. And of course, especially if you're solo or it's your first time international travel, your guard might be high, your guard might be up. But the Filipinos are some of the most welcoming and genuine people I've ever met on the planet. And that's also one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of people in the US, they have their guard up all the time, because they haven't experienced that type of culture. They haven't really surrounded themselves. And I'm not saying a trip like, oh, we're going on a 5-6 week trip to Coron to party in the Philippines. Like, they haven't stayed for 1 month, for 6 months somewhere and really experienced culture to realize, to feel like that. Because it's a feeling that you have to experience to realize how you act, like who you are even.
Well, even when you went on your 10-day trip, though, you got a taste of that. And I mean, even those small trips, like, it's like, you know, you don't have to be on a month-long trip to even get that piece of culture that you need. I mean, I think a lot of travelers can agree that, like, when you start traveling, like, you don't just stop. It definitely, it sparks something in you. And then all of a sudden you're just like craving more. And you were trying to describe it earlier, but that's definitely, it's just a craving sensation to learn more about these other cultures that are around the world. And unfortunately, a lot of people in the US have never left their city, their state, or their country. And it's unfortunate, because we don't prioritize travel. We think of travel as a luxury. We think of it, oh, well, I'm going on vacation. I'm going to go somewhere and enjoy myself and have some drinks or whatever. But once you like step outside of that zone and like you get to see these places and how they live and the culture, and you meeting people, you realize you're not as different as the world makes it out to be. And it's just absolutely incredible, the experiences that you can make and the people that you meet. Like you were just talking about the people over in the Philippines. I mean, over the world, like I think that we're in such a fear-based world nowadays. It's so fear-based that when it comes down right to it, when you go out and you meet these people and you're like, wow, they're not like everybody's saying they are, and you actually get to know them, like it all of a sudden takes away all of the fear that you originally had. So I think it's just absolutely incredible to be able to meet people all around the world, and just like I think they will inadvertently change your opinion of the world without you even trying, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you took this whole mentality and you didn't expect to escape the 9-to-5, but you came back and you felt a drive to it, right? Mm-hmm. This was your first time. You said you did some domestic travel beforehand, but did you ever, in your childhood, did you have any travel experience before, or was it kind of just all like right then and there, like just in those experiences, you kind of just took the one-of trip and that was that?
I've done a lot of domestic travel my whole life. Pretty much, it's primarily domestic. I guess Canada. I went to Canada from every Saturday from 5 years old to 12 years old for Chinese school. So we were actually a 30-minute drive from the border, living in Michigan, from Windsor. So I did go to Canada a good amount of times, Toronto even sometimes. I feel like when I was really young, but I didn't really get to experience it. I'd say between ages of 17 or 16 to 25, 26, 27, when a lot of people go on these solo trips, I didn't get to do that at all. And that's why I think it also hit me so hard. Once I discovered it, when I was smarter, when I was making money, when I had a business mindset also, I was able to discover it at that time to make it into a career eventually. I might not have done it if I discovered it earlier. Who knows? I might have at the same time. But it was primarily domestic. We went to New York 3-4 times a year from Michigan. I traveled a lot around the U.S., especially for tennis. I love tennis again, and a lot of the tournaments are in Indian Wells in California. Miami, you have to fly to for a week, and so I did a lot of domestic, just not international, I would say, besides Canada.
Yeah. So that probably helped a little bit with just that aspect of being comfortable with some type of travel outside of your comfort zone from where you normally were. But so when it comes to when you were preparing to leave and escape that corporate world, right? You said that you had gone back and you had kind of like prepared to like work somewhere for a short amount, or 10, 11 months, you said, save up all that money and go from there. How much money? I know that someone, one of the questions that someone had asked me to ask you was, how much money was enough money for you to be able to feel secure in leaving and like starting on this journey?
So I honestly didn't have as much as a lot of people would have, honestly. I had around 9,000 American dollars. However, because of what I've done and what I've built in that 10 months at the 9-to-5 job, I was able to build value. With my sales background, and I worked at LinkedIn, Groupon, I've learned how to find decision makers, how if I have value, if I have a product or something that hotels and all these chains that these YouTubers are getting these free stays and free products and clothings and hats. And if I'm able to pitch value, I can do a really good job with it. And because of that, I had the confidence in it myself. I told myself while I was working, if I can get a couple collaborations in the US, then I could probably get it in Southeast Asia a lot easier, because it's going to be a lot harder in the US to get projects than in the US and in Southeast Asia or anywhere else, I thought. Especially when I had a little following. So that was the testament, right? You have a little amount of following, but I have the sales skills. That's what a lot of people lack. So I was able to get, for like 2 months straight, almost collaborations every weekend in Napa with my best friends. So we were, for Instagram stories and sometimes a post, I was getting free wine tastings, free bottles of wine. And then I really realized I needed to get in like hospitality and stuff. So I got my first hotel collaboration was in Napa. Like, it was actually my second hotel collaboration, but my first one in the US was in Napa. And then my second one in the US was in Santa Monica, and it was full aboard, like 2 nights in a really nice hotel on Santa Monica. And that's when I built that confidence in my mind that I have the value. If I'm getting these people in America to say yes, I can run with it in Southeast Asia. So even though I didn't have a big enough 10, 20K, even 15K, 30K where I would have liked to had, I had that confidence, I had that sales skills, and I had a skill set that a lot of these content creators, these YouTubers that we watch, do not have at all. They have agencies, right? They had the content, they had the skills. They're creators. They don't have the business and sales side. I was confident enough to run with it, and I was very strategized. So before I even left to Bali, which was the first place doing this full time, I had 2 straight months of free hotel stay. I had about 7.5 weeks of free hotel. So the first 7 nights I booked myself. I booked something cheap. I had friends tag along with me for the first 3 months of my work now. And so I was splitting a room with someone for the first week, and I wanted to get accommodated with Bali and really get used to it. I said, we booked something for 7 nights. I still made a couple videos, but then I had 6.5 straight weeks of free hotel stay. 5 nights here, 1 week here, 3 nights, 5-star here. And I was so excited. That took me only 1.5 to 2 weeks to prepare, about 2 weeks to prepare, 2 months of stay. And I wasn't even doing it smart. That's the funny part. I was just wild westing. I thought I was doing it smart. I had a lead gen person getting me hotel leads, like emails off of their websites, like the info at Marriott, nusadua.com. And that's not smart because that's not reaching the right decision makers. So after that, the first month or two, I started realizing I really need to utilize everything that I learned in corporate sales, everything, from finding the right decision makers, strategizing everything, and do it a lot smarter than everyone else is doing. Otherwise, I'm going to get burnt out and I'm not going to survive. That's what will happen. I'm going to run out of money, or I'm going to get burnt out trying to get these hotel collaborations, and people aren't going to respond back to me. Industry standard for the email response rate is like 10-15%. The way I do it, my strategy of how I get these decision makers, my industry standard for those, my response rate is around 80%. So it's really, really high. So like, because of everything, the sales mindset, the background that I've had, I had the confidence to run with it. And I ran with it.
Absolutely. No, I mean, and I think that the sales obviously definitely helps with all of that. And I think that that's probably the thing that people will struggle with the most. But when it comes to, so you chose Southeast Asia and such because it was a more affordable area and you were able to make it with that 9,000 then, right? That you had started with? Or
on top of that, I was so inspired. Like, I've never been to a lot of these places, and I was watching all of Los LeBlanc's videos, Bali, Thailand. He was primarily in Southeast Asia because that's essentially almost when he started off too. He had like 200-300K. So I was inspired to explore Bali, explore the Philippines, go to Coron, explore Vietnam. I knew my money could go extremely far, and it seemed like, based on a lot of the content creators, they were getting a lot of the free stays in these tropical places. And I love beach. I love tropical environments. Like, if you look at my Instagram account at C Lau Travel, everything's tropical. Like, you'll see some stuff. Like, I've been to Morocco, I've been to Israel, so you'll see some random things that that are thrown in there. But like, majority of my content is on a beach. It's tropical.
No, absolutely. So what do you think was the thing that scared you the most? Like, what aspect of everything were you kind of like unsure about and proved you wrong?
I'd say failure. I think that definitely is on top of everyone's mind of fear, like of doing this, of quitting, especially if they want to be a YouTuber. People don't want to go home, right? People will get odd jobs too. Also, I think some people that eventually will get burnt out will also try to get an odd job for about a year. You know, you can work at a resort, you can work at, I know a place in Cambodia, at Koh Rong, that just take random backpackers. They give them free stay if they can just help out 3-4 days a week. So they give them free stay, and they try to find other ways to make money at the end of the day. So, my biggest thing was fear. And I always had a backup plan, of course, right? My backup plan, my mindset was I could go back to California. I could do it all and try to rerun it. But, I hate saying this. I had the confidence, and I knew, and I feel like I had the skill set to keep this going. I literally had the confidence. Before I even went to Bali for my, literally quitting, I had one paid project, and that's really hard for anyone to get with the amount of followers and subscribers that I had. So that's also what really gave my confidence. It wasn't that much. I think it was $500 just to put this company in 3 YouTube videos for exposure. So that's really easy. And I think that's even that was hard to find I had 400 subscribers. That's crazy for me. Like, just to make $500 and on top of it, I needed to make content anyway. So I was going to find a tour company to take me to these places anyway. So they were just getting exposure. I was able to make my content, have someone drive me around and make my videos, and I was getting paid. So I felt like I had a lot of confidence going into this. And that's also one of the reasons why I was successful in sales at some of these companies. Having the biggest quarter is you have to have confidence, but it also has to be realistic confidence. You have to realize what your strengths. You also have to realize your weaknesses. And I felt like, based on the amount of strengths that I had going into what I'm doing today, I was going to be able to make this into something. I met Christian 2 months into what I was doing. We had dinner 5 days in a row. I started associating myself within a month or two with some of the biggest travel content creators on the planet. I met Chelsea Kauai last year. That's also what helped me kept going. I figured I was associating myself with the right people that quick. So I was doing something right. And granted, my content isn't as great as a lot of theirs, but they figured they knew my skill was sales. So they kind of saw what I was doing. They figured, how is this guy getting so many of these free stays? Like, like that's one thing that Christian really asked me and dove in a couple questions, and I actually showed him my email template. He asked for my email template the first night I met him, and he's very business oriented. But you also have to get to that certain point if you want to be successful in a certain way. But also you have to be human in a certain way. I also notice a lot of the guys that get that big, their head gets bigger than their followers. So even though they have 1.8 million, they have 2 million, 3 million, their head's a lot bigger than their followers and they forget who they are. So that's one thing that I've also prided myself with is I always talk to my friends still in California weekly, daily. My best friend, David, I always talk to almost every day. You can't forget who you are and you can't let social media take over who you are.
Absolutely. And you have to remember where you came from too. I mean, like there was a point where you weren't even traveling and you would have never even probably expected or dreamed that this was going to happen until you kind of fell into it.
Exactly. We're privileged. We're really blessed to doing what we're doing, and to have an ego at a certain point, just because you have 2 million followers, or maybe you don't consider it an ego. Maybe you consider it's a business. I need to run my business. But some of the things that you do that aren't moral, you have to realize what you do. And a lot of those creators, when they get that big, they don't realize it. I'll be upfront. Like 5% of the industry is genuine people. I can name off 3 or 4 or 5 creators that are my best friends because only they are genuine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's all about that genuality. And I think it's easier to see that. And I mean, when I first met you, like we just had a great conversation and it just kind of went very well. And it's just that genuality automatically shows there. So I think that speaks a lot to you and your character. So
thank you.
I appreciate being on here. So thank you. Was there a point, like how much time do you think it took you after you left that corporate world for you to really become like comfortable in thinking, okay, this is going to work? Did you think it was just going to work right off the bat? I know that you were confident in yourself, but like, was there a point like 6 months, a year where you're like, yeah, this is definitely going to work. I feel secure in what I'm doing right now. And I know that this is going to move forward.
There's definitely a few times where I felt like maybe I'd say about a year and a half it took of like full-time travel. Once there was a few certain brands that actually reached out to me, like Hostel World was one. So Hostel World reached out to me to host on Instagram Live in Israel. So like I was like, whoa, like this is huge. That was one that I kind of clicked, like, all right, this is good. The creators that I was meeting again, some of the creators that I was collaborating with, reaching out to me. One of my best friends, Exploring with Cody, he's got a little over 400,000 on YouTube, is the most humble person I've ever met on the planet. He invited me to a trip to Morocco to help him out with some stuff. He said he would cover all my costs if I can just help get like 1 or 2 collaborations for hotels. So I did my part. I helped him shoot a little. And it was the people at that point, about a year to a year and a half into it, that I was associating myself with, that really gave me the confidence that this can go somewhere. And also the backbone, I have to admit this, the backbone to what I'm doing and my success is my wife. Like into this, like one of my dreams was, I hate saying this, like I felt like I was a hopeless romantic, right? Like I said, there was no direction. I was playing tennis in San Francisco, going on a couple dates here and there, getting my heart broken, breaking hearts, of course. And I wife into this. And that was also one thing that I realized that traveling is, especially in Southeast Asia, you're going to meet people who are extremely cultured, right? Family first. They don't need the latest iPhone, the latest technology to keep them happy. It's about culture. It's about the environment. And I ended up meeting my wife out here in Thailand. We had a baby who's 8 months old now, turning 8 months very soon. And she's the backbone to my success also. She's helped me at certain times where I needed her. Even when I don't need her, she helps me and always offers help. Monetarily, there's 1 or 2 points where I thought I needed to turn around, and she just bought a drone for me. Like I crashed my drone at one point, and she helped me out with the drone. I paid her back eventually, including my other camera, my GH5. Like something happened to it at one point in Morocco, and she literally bought me a new camera. I could have winged it with my vlog camera, other cameras. The content wouldn't be as good, but she was immediately able to jump on and help me out almost immediately. And I paid her back almost right away. But she's been also the backbone to my success. I feel like behind every creator and behind every success story, there's also that one powerful woman or someone behind the scenes that is helping them out. And so besides, those milestones of the people I was hanging out with, I would say my wife has helped me significantly.
That's amazing. And, it's funny you bring that up because I was actually going to ask. I know you have a baby and a wife, and I think that there's a lot of people that think that, having a family, like you can't have a family if you're going to do like this type of travel or this type of job. And I think that that's something that's definitely a misconception. So when did you guys meet? And how, like, at what point did that become part of the process, and how does that kind of work with the business, if I can ask that? Like, so, did you travel with you? Like, now you have the baby with you, and I know that it's not as difficult as some people might think. But I feel like they believe, oh, if I'm gonna go and like travel the world, I have to be single, and I don't think that's the case.
So yeah, we met literally when I was 3-4 months into starting this. So she wasn't just going for the free hotels, I'd like to think, or the fame or anything like that. She started when I was really small. I was traveling basically with a couple of friends, as I mentioned, and one of my close buddies, I was traveling with Dustin. He's not into the content creation. He helps me here and there, which is awesome. But he was swiping right everywhere he was going, all these countries. I was getting these hotels, and he would go on these adventures, and he would help me sometimes. And sometimes I'd be editing at night, so he would just be swiping right, going on dates. We got to Thailand 3-4 months into it, and he's doing all this swiping, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on a couple dates here and there. Like I'm having a great time. Like I had a couple like projects in Thailand, like paid gigs too. So like I was like, I want to go on like 1 or 2. So I went on 1, didn't go great, thankfully. And then I ended up meeting my wife on the second one. And ever since then, it was history. Like she swiped right, I swiped right. That's literally how we met each other. And it was love at first sight, honestly. Like she's been so helpful with everything that I've done. And I can't, I'm so happy with the story that I've become with how I found her and everything, and the family that I've created. And I totally think, leading into your question, you could travel with your family. So that's definitely one thing that we wanted to protect ourselves also. So she has a 9-year-old son. When I first met her, she had a 6-year-old son. And we wanted to protect him. So we didn't really want to incorporate him in a lot of the videos because we just started dating, and I'm not going to just throw him in my videos. We concluded to that, and it made sense. And then once we had our own baby, so about 1.5 years, 2 years into it, I found out she's pregnant. Our current one, Oliver, I love the heck out of him. And once we found out we had our own baby, essentially we had to announce it. We introduced her son also, and we told everyone in the video why we didn't want to just put him out there to YouTube or Instagram or the world. Yeah. And it made sense, and everyone welcomed it. And I started just wanting to create more family travel content. Again, with the sales skills, my sales background, I had 0 like family content, but immediately I was able to get baby products for free. Like I was getting collaborations for baby products for this. Like I have a great pitch. I have a good background that allowed me to isolate the needs and figure out what I needed to do. So I was able to get baby products and everything like that. And I started pitching family travel. So a lot of these hotels, I changed my template, and I think it's easy. I think a lot of these hotels that I work with, especially the type of travel that I do now, we stay at a lot of 5-star resorts because for the baby, we want to keep it clean and everything like that. And especially when he's so young, like traveling with a 4, 5, 6 month old. By 6 months, our boy went to over 20 hotels in Thailand by 6 months old, which is nuts. I've isolated that family travel is a need in the industry that a lot of these hotels want. So I feel like families are spending the most money over backpackers when they're traveling to Southeast Asia. No offense to backpackers, but I totally believe that these families that are coming out here, and there are a lot of them with kids, are spending a lot of money. So I've positioned myself that way, and a lot of places are wanting to work with me. Even the tourism board. The tourism board, it was more solo, but a lot of places, brands are reaching out just for that family travel experience. Like, we'd love to show your family content, even if it's Instagram stories or anything. And I think that's a great niche that I'm starting to hit hard. Yeah,
absolutely. So I appreciate you going into that and telling people like that. I think that there's definitely that stigma that people think that it's not as doable. But I think it's a great way. And I think traveling with kids isn't as hard as it seems. A lot of times, especially like, first of all, they're becoming more cultured and they're going to experience those things and grow as a person and see more than most children in the world. And I think that will help them enter the world in a more unique and embraced way. So talking about some of the sources of income that you have. So you have YouTube, you have Instagram, you have Facebook, you have I know you got a few programs that you're doing, which we will talk about later. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. But how many sources of income? I know that diversification is important when you're doing this type of work. So what would you say is like the number of sources of income that you have, and how you kind of organize that for people that are looking into this?
Yeah, currently, for me right now, where I stand, I probably have about 4 to 7 sources of income, I'd like to think. One being YouTube. So obviously my YouTube channel, but that's not that much. Patreon's another one. It's not that much, but it's still $20, $150, $200-300 a month helps. I also have a lot of side projects. So like brand deals on Instagram is another one. So I do brand deals here and there. I work with the tourism board. I just finished a 6-month contract with the tourism board. They were paying me monthly. I currently have video projects on the side. So I'm flying to Phuket in about a week and a half to create a cinematic promotional video. So I do marketing material from promotional videos to photography packages for hospitality, tourism boards, tour companies, anything like that, especially if they need drone content. So I have projects like that. I've been helping some creators also get collaborations and get brand deals. So I'm actually been working with 2 creators. One I might be working with again, one also very, very soon, who have like 200,000 on their YouTube channel, and they've been paying for hotels for the last like 2-3 years. And they're showing these hotels that they're paying for in their YouTube videos, but they don't know why they're paying 10, 15, 20,000 a month. So they're paying me a monthly retainer of $1,500, $2,000 per month, and I'm getting them free hotel stays. That's another source of income. I just started working with this company called The Tiger, which is Thailand's #2 social media and news outlet on social media, on YouTube and everything. They have about 70,000 on YouTube. So I'm just starting to work with them, and I'm helping them create videos. So I'm going to be like a TV broadcaster for them on their YouTube channel, only for 3 videos a week. So the best part is I just go, I film, and then I send the videos to them, and they have editors that edit everything. So that's super easy for me. That's another source of income. They're paying me monthly. And then I sold prints. I also opened up a print shop for my drone photo collection a few months ago. I sold a few of those. And then also the mentor program that I just recently launched, which was very successful. And I actually sold seats. I sold out all the seats in less than 48 hours. I thought it was going to take me 30 days to fill up this program. The entire month of February, I was devoting to find people who are serious about making the 9-to-5, escaping it. And I found a lot of people who are willing to really try to learn what I've done. And yeah, that's what I've launched. That's another my big avenue of revenue right now.
That's awesome. And how, with that mentorship program, I know you have limited spots on that. How many times a year are you going to be launching that? Because I guess how long is the program itself?
So it's going to be probably, I want to do it 3 to 4 times a year. Right now it's currently limited to 8 seats. I wanted to really test it out, and I wanted everyone to be successful. I want to know that I can handle 8 people, or I want to see how many people I can handle, but I want to know that my strategies can work for other people. I have done a one-on-one mentoring with, I think, 15 people off Instagram DM. So I also promoted that last year. So I did one-on-one mentoring for like $125 an hour. And a few of those people that I've mentored that paid for it like 4 or 5 times were getting projects. And one of them had been working with 5-star hotels the last 3 months. Like he's getting like 2 to 3 5-star hotels like a month in Cambodia, like 4 or 5-star hotels while he's doing this. And so I felt like everything that I've taught him transitioned to what I'm teaching in my mentor program, and it literally worked for him. He had 1,000 followers like about a year ago. Now he's only at like 1,400, but he's been working with so many hotels in Cambodia, and that was his dream. His dream was to work with these hotels and take his mom to one of these hotels to show her that he can do it. And because of, I think it was 4 sessions, one-on-one mentoring session, he just one-on-one, I called it one-on-one, just hands-on sessions. Because of 4 of them, he was able to learn and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have a question from Ben. Are you just creating hotel promotional videos for these properties, or are you doing hotel reviews for these properties that are sponsoring you?
So that's separate. Sometimes these hotels will want promotional videos when I reach out to them. So a lot of the times when I travel, I'm reaching out to some of these hotels because I'm going to those destinations. I do my outreach. A lot of the times they'll ask for promotional video. That's when I let them know the value, right? If I'm reaching out to them because I want to stay there and I'm going to put them in Instagram, if I'm going to do stories, or if I'm going to put them in a YouTube video, whatever it is, they're going to ask me for it. And that's when you have the opportunity to upsell them. You let them know, hey, I reached out to you in regards to exposure. Like a lot of the clients that I work with, I put them in one YouTube video, which is valued at, you can let them know X, Y, and Z dollar amount, and an Instagram post, which is valued at X, Y, Z dollar amount. This has been my full-time job for the last 3 years, so this is something that I do. I'm willing to collaborate on exposure for free stay. However, if you're looking for promotional video, this is how I feed my family. This is how I feed myself. If you would like that 30-second video, we can talk. We can figure out the story you'd like, and I can also give you my rates based on what you need. So that's
yeah,
I don't really.
It's not like you were reading an email.
I try to separate it when I'm doing outreach to these hotels. But for instance, it's a tour company in 2 weeks that I'm going to. I've worked with them 4 times. This is a strictly promotional video. I'm going down there to Phuket for in 2 weeks. So I'm literally going shooting for 1 full day as long as it's not raining. I'm not promoting that at all in any way if I don't want to. I like this company, so I might do a story and tag them. They really appreciate that. I try to really separate it. Okay. Exposure and promotional content.
Yeah, whether that's being posted, but is it all being posted on your YouTube channel, or is it just whatever's in your contract with them?
Whatever's in the contract with them. So like the promotional video is typically them for what they put it on their website. They want like a promotional marketing video, and they want to put it on their website or make it into an ad on Facebook or something. So that's what I sell. Typically, if I reach out to a hotel, I'm looking to trade for exposure. Like I want your best room. I want the best suite. I would like full board, a spa, because I do highlight everything on my social media. So as long as they're getting what they want, I'm letting them know what I can provide. Instagram stories, typically my value proposition when I'm reaching out for free everything is I'll do Instagram stories. I would be willing to do a post potentially, or I'll be putting them in a YouTube video. I'll try to do the combination of stories and a YouTube video, or stories and a post. I won't do Instagram posts and a YouTube video because I know the value of both of them. That one's a static, they're both static. They're both gonna be on my channel, gonna be on my Instagram feed. So I actually have a dollar amount and the value behind both of them. Stories, I do have a dollar amount behind, but it's really easy to do. I do get high engagement on stories, and I'm very, very generous with stories. So like I really tell people like, hey, like I'm very generous. I'm willing to do a minimum of 3 to 5 a day, but I will probably do more because it's very natural.
That's what people like too. They like the just seeing where you're at. I think that's where a lot of the engagement comes from, is like people being able to follow and feel like they're right there with you in those stories because they're more authentic. They're not edited. They're just you being there.
But the hardest part is telling these hotels also is because the hotels, like the stories disappear in 24 hours. But I'm literally breaking down the analytics for some of them, saying, hey, my story views gets 12K to 20K, and if I do like 5 to 10 stories for 3 days straight, and 10, 20K are consistently watching it for 3 days straight, that's going to be much more engagement and traction than one static post that I'm posting. Because after 24, 40 hours, you're probably not going to get any more engagement. People might not really see it. I get that it's going to be on my feed. People will see that, great. But if you really want the engagement and people clicking, me showing myself in the spa going like this, like, you're like, where is he? Like actually engaging. People will engage. So I have to show them the clicks and stuff like that sometimes. And they're like, oh, okay, it's fine. And I'd rather do a story than a post, honestly. It's a lot easier. It's a lot quicker. And it is more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's just more organic in general.
Exactly.
So we've got another question from Ben. He said, when you stay at a property looking for a potential free stay, how does that affect your review of a property?
So I'm pretty honest and upfront. I know exactly what you're saying. So I'm very also picky with the properties that I stay at, right? I'm not just closing my eyes and again, this was probably the strategy that I first did when I did this, reaching out to Bali. I was reaching out to almost any hotel trying to get the collaboration. Now I'm very picky and I have more of a strategy. And when I talk to these hotels, I make them feel very special, right? I was on your website. You have something that I would love to really highlight and promote. So these hotels, even if there's something that I don't like typically if there's something I don't like, it's the food, right? And it's really important for me wherever I'm traveling to, especially if it's a 5-star luxury hotel. And I'll admit this, guys. So I'm very energetic and exciting whenever I'm eating good food, especially in my vlogs and stories. And Soniva, which is, I hope they're not watching this, they're the most luxurious property in all of Thailand. I totally recommend them. They're the best hotel ever, but the food wasn't up to par with a lot of the places that I've stayed at, a lot of the places. And Soniva is 6,000 American dollars per night for one night, six grand. So like in the vlog, I put like, this place is incredible. I love this. I love this. I love this. Now the food, it's not bad. However, I recommend this, this, and that. So like, I think my genuine followers will know like, okay, the food isn't that great.
Don't eat the food.
Exactly. I'm not gonna directly be like, guys, the steak sucks. Like, but I am honest. Like, people can tell. Okay, like the way I put it out is genuine, and like if you know me, I'm always smiling. I'm always energetic. So like, if you suddenly see me like, in the food, not bad. Like, meh. Like they'll know. All right, Chris doesn't like it.
You're like, got it.
Exactly. So. But yeah, I'm pretty honest with my reviews in all my properties. And again, everywhere I go, I'm really picky. And a lot of the places, if you guys see, especially in Thailand last year, we've stayed at some of the most incredible properties, incredible 5-star hotels, Four Seasons, Chiang Mai, which has rice fields there, to Raya Vidi out in Krabi, to on a floating bungalow in Khao Sok National Park that is like Maldives in Thailand. Like we've stayed at some of the most incredible and unique properties.
Very cool. Oh, looks like. Do you recommend?
Ben is jumping in with the questions. I love it, Ben.
Krabi versus Co-op. I don't even know what that is, so you're gonna have to explain that.
So my family and I was actually in Krabi for my very, very first time last year, but then I ended up going 3 times that same month. One was another was for a project with the tourism board, and just another one was because I really love Krabi. That's really tough because I went to Koh Samui my second time at the same time, around the same time I went to Krabi for my first time. And I fell in love with Koh Samui more. Why do you do this, Ben? I would say, I don't know why you do this, Ben. I would say right now Krabi. There's something about Krabi that I really love. All the limestone rocks. Lucie, if you're not familiar, Koh Samui is I think it's the 2nd or 3rd largest island in Thailand. There's so many activities you can do on Koh Samui. And there's like an Angtong National Park right there. And there's just so much activities you can do on Koh Samui and Island Hop. And Krabi is known for like Railay Beach, which is like all these giant limestone rocks. You can jump on a long-tail boat and go to PP Islands from Krabi. PP Islands is in Krabi. Maya Bay, which Leonardo DiCaprio blew up in the movie The Beach in the 90s. Is in Krabi. It's there in that area. So it's like all limestone rocks. It's beautiful. I would recommend Krabi right now currently. It's just, there's something about Krabi I really love the vibes, and it's just super beautiful.
I love that. That's awesome. Thanks for asking that really hard question, Ben.
That's not cool, man. That's not cool.
That's not cool. I love that. Well, it is hard. It's like when people ask, "Oh, what's your favorite country?" And it's like, like, I don't know. Oh gosh. So speaking of that, how many countries have you been to?
I can go in that app and I can find out right now. I think 34.
34. Okay.
Yeah, 34.
And so you chose Bangkok, right? You're in Bangkok right now, and or it's Bangkok, right? Right, correct.
My home base is Bangkok. I chose Bangkok because my wife lives here, and I was gonna have Bali as a home base, or I just needed to be out in Southeast Asia as a home base.
Yeah. Because that's what I was going to ask. Like, is your home base ever going to change? Like, what are you like in Bangkok, and then you're kind of that's just your home base, and you're like, what's that kind of looking like for you in the near future or future just in general?
Yeah. I'd like to cover as much. My goal at the end of this year was to cover all of Southeast Asia, but obviously, that can't really happen right now currently. But there's a lot of different ideas and goals. Personally, for me and my family, I would love our kids to be around my mom and dad in the U.S. for a little bit. I think this world of social media and everything is great until you find your identity. You need to find your identity. I feel like there's too many people doing it. And with this mentor program that I launched, I found my identity, which might allow me to not have to make as many YouTube videos or travel as much, which is great in my mind in a way, but I'm still going to be traveling and making content, making videos. So at the same time, the idea is for the kids to be closer to my mom and dad. So I think we would like to move to the US maybe next year. I think that's the idea. We actually are speaking to an attorney. So this is some very down low stuff. I don't know where this is going to go, but we have an attorney. We've been paid for a lawyer and everything in the US. And we're in the process of getting my wife so she can be able to move to the US and with her son. My son is fine. Like Ali's fine because it's ours, but her and her son needs to legally live there. So we're going to try to do that next year is the goal, and just still make a ton of travel content all across the U.S. I want to cover. I want to go to Mexico. I want to definitely go to Mexico. I definitely want to cover Mexico, South America, Europe. It's easier to travel to like South America and Europe, especially when you're in the U.S., especially in Michigan. It's like the Midwest. Yeah. Cheap flights to Europe, cheap flights to South America. So I'm planning on doing more of that later on. I did get outreached by like 1 or 2 businesses out like in South America, but it's just inconvenient. So I would like to cover this side of the world more, even like out to like Dubai, Israel. Like I've been to a couple times. I wouldn't mind going that far out, but just really cover a lot of Southeast Asia.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's really cool. Then that's something to look forward to. That's going to be a whole shift in your content, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. It'll be fun though. I'm excited. I have some ideas on how I'll do it.
And did you do content in the US before you like on your YouTube channel before you left for?
I think like 7 or 8 blogs. I think not too much though. I didn't do too much. I was posting on IG, but not as much. But my demographics, my number one demographics on YouTube is the USA. So I'm pretty confident it will, like, when moving back to the US, hey, like if I'm pitching brands, my demographics is still USA. So and UK is in the top 5 also, and Australia is in the top 5, but then Thailand is there, and also the Philippines. So that might be harmful, but I'm totally confident the transition should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I don't think that it would be. I think all parties, all of those people that are on your channel right now would benefit from American travel. I mean, there's a lot of people, the whole surge of American travel right now, because here in America we can't really go. We can, but it's easier to travel within the States, and a lot of people have taken to domestic travel because of that. And I think that what you mentioned earlier, like way earlier, you were saying that it kind of took you a push to be able to get to where you are today. You kind of needed that push with that job to be able to, finally make the step to make this happen for you. And I think that step happened a lot for people during COVID. I think that every situation has a positive side and a negative side. And I think that with COVID, I think it kicked some people in the butt, but it also gave people an opportunity to be able to like refocus and reevaluate and see what's really important to them. And I think a lot of people have started on the whole travel thing. I know that I started my YouTube channel during COVID, and it's always been on my mind to be like a part of this whole sphere of travel, but I never really knew what to do. And I was always here in America, we're so go, go, go. Like we're so busy. The corporate world just like, oh, got to make more money. And like, we never really stopped to just like breathe and think. And like during COVID, the whole world had to like stop. And the whole world was on pause for like a month, which is like insane. And I just think that a lot of people gained a lot from that. And I've seen so many people like go and reach for their passions now, and really understand like what's important to them. And I think that there's going to be a huge, obviously, I know there's going to be a huge surge of travel in the next coming year or so. So what would you say is your best piece of advice for someone who's looking to make this transition? I know that's a loaded question, but
it's really tough. I'll be honest with you. It seems like it's really tough if you're really trying to make this into a living, escape the 9-to-5 to make this into transition. It's tough without the right guidance. And it's definitely tough without, I'd say, the business background. Like without the sales skills and all that knowledge that I've learned and utilized at LinkedIn, specifically Groupon, Quicken Loans, everything, and it's little pieces of it here and there, I would have ran out of money so quick. I honestly would have run out of money so quick. I'd probably be back in the US working again. I think that's the toughest part. So I think having that right mindset, being prepared, let's say preparing yourself to be professional. All these content creators on YouTube and all these big creators, I hate saying this, but from speaking to hotel managers and other people, brands that I've worked with, they don't do it the same way I do it. The professionalism, the way that I'm reaching out and finding decision makers is a lot different than a lot of other creators, especially working with agencies. And it allows me to stand out entirely. And because I'm able to stand out that way, people want to work with me. People want to have me come and stay or give me their products because I was able to stand out and reach them in a professional manner, present myself in a professional manner. It's not just one or two things, it's the whole 9 yards, right? Following up, doing everything very professionally in a high level, because all the people that you're reaching out to, they're all people in the corporate world. So you need to be able to think like them. You need to be able to understand how they're thinking, understand when they're going into the office. One of my best friends is a travel blogger. He wasn't in the corporate industry. I remember speaking to him last year on a Saturday, like evening, Thailand time. So it's like late night, Australia time. And I was like, hey, how was your day? He's like, yeah, man, I crushed so many emails. I sent out all these emails for this trip in a couple of weeks. Like today, like I'm going to get a lot of emails back. He didn't get as many responses as he wanted to. And I was like, immediately when he said that on Saturday night, I was like, why are you sending it now? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, between Saturday night and Monday morning, when these HR directors and social media directors, marketing directors get into their office and they're opening up the laptop like this and they're opening up their Outlook, your email is going to be on the very, very bottom. There's going to be 15, 20, 30 emails from other people in the company, work, spam, just garbage, let's say. And most of the time, again, industry standard is 10, 15% an email response rate. So the other 80%, most of the time, these people, they don't have the time to respond to you. They're not even seeing your email because they don't have time to go that far down there. They're just literally trying to catch up, and they're getting more bombarded throughout the day Monday with email. So they're probably not going to get to your email. And that's one of the reasons why that a lot of people end up burning out, because they have the money. Maybe they're just reaching out to people. They're not getting that response rate, the response rate I'm getting of 80, 90%, because they're doing it the way that content creators and these big YouTubers are teaching them and telling them that they never really did it. They never really were in the trenches. I get that they hustled and I get that they grinded by posting daily vlogs maybe on YouTube for a year, and that's why they're at 1 million subscribers, but they never really put in the business side hustle. And that's one of the sides that needs to stand out in this day of age if you really want to get your name out there and make this into a lifestyle. That's why a lot of these big creators, they can't relate with the products that they're launching. And here's a quick fix email template. Use this email template and you can get free stay. And maybe they're like, tailor it a little bit. Of course you gotta tailor it. people don't know how to tailor emails properly. People don't know how to really create these type of emails and sales funnels and little things that makes the difference that allows me to be successful. So I think having the right guidance, having the right mentor, if you want to say, or having the right sales like course out there, creator course, whatever platforms it is, being prepared, really being prepared before you take that leap of faith and quitting the 9-to-5 will allow you to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there are a lot of programs out there to be a part of. And I think it can definitely be inundating, because when you get, as a new YouTuber, you're going to go to YouTube usually, and you're going to try and find people that you can relate to, and like, oh, if they might offer you a course, and then sometimes you take that course, and there's a lot that goes on in the background, a lot of research that goes into it. I know there's been a lot of late nights for me, like trying to figure out, what is the path that's going to work best for me. But I definitely feel like sometimes there's like one path that they're giving for all of these people, when it really needs to be tailored for them and like what they're trying to accomplish with their specific channel, right? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Exactly. I wanted to launch a course last year. Instead, I launched a mentor program because everyone has a different story. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. I didn't want to launch a quick money grab products. Like some of these products I've seen out there. A lot of the products are great. I admit a lot of the products are good, but I felt like a mentor program is more hands-on. I'm able to work with people one-on-one individually to really help them out and drive home success based on what success is in their eyes and in my eyes. So as long as we can agree upon success, I went through an interview process, right? I wanted to make sure that you can qualify for this. We have the drive also. You have some of the skills. There's more people that wanted to sign up. I didn't expect that at all. Honestly, there's a lot more. So I'm going to definitely do a round 2 and add people to it. But like, you have to have that drive and everything. Otherwise you will get burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have another question from Cello, but you might have answered it just a little bit, but I wonder if you have a different perspective that you want to kind of add to it. If someone's a complete beginner in a saturated market of travel bloggers, what is the number one thing that you do to stand out amongst those other travel bloggers? Or
professionalism. It's the professionalism. Again, like the collaborations I wouldn't be able to get if a lot of these marketing directors aren't even looking at my content, but the way I'm presenting myself in the email, the media kit, everything, that's the reason why they're working with me. And that's the reason why, as long as you do a good job, then they're going to pass you along and give you more contacts. I worked with Four Seasons Chiang Mai 2 months ago. That was the first Four Seasons property I ever worked at. I worked at like Intercontinental, Sonivas, a lot of good ones, high ones, but I really wanted Four Seasons. And because I did good for that one, I'm about to work with Four Seasons Bangkok in 2 weeks. For a weekend stay, which I'm really, really excited about. My wife is excited about it. That's also one thing that drives me to keep going, is I'm able to bring my wife, my family on these projects, and they don't really need to do anything at all, but enjoy it. So I wanted to surround myself with the loved ones, my friends. I always want my friends to come out and visit me, because I end up like taking them on trips, and I'm like, don't worry about the hotels, I got it. And it's like, I didn't really do it just to try to blow up. I wanted to do it just for my benefit and my friends' benefit and anyone who I love and like around me. Like, I wanted to help everyone out with it.
Hey, and I think that's part of the best, like, that's the best way they can go about it. Because I think a lot of times when people get into this, they're like, how can I make like $1 million being a YouTuber, And I think it's truly about just finding that spark of passion, whatever that might be. I mean, you could be any type of YouTuber, right? And whether there's different types of travel YouTubers, there's luxury, there's, affordable, there's backpacker, there's a million and one things that you could be. But I think that authenticity level and just doing it for the right reasons really shows through when you're trying to create this content, especially like in the day and age, like where you can feel the energy that someone's giving you. Like when you're having a conversation or whether you're doing a video for them, like they can feel that energy and they're either going to relate to it or they're not going to. And if they relate to it and they are on the same page as you, but that authenticity piece, and I know that a lot of people hate that word, like authenticity, like, oh, be authentic. Like, how do you be authentic? Like, I don't know, just be yourself. But, I think it's so true. And I think, even on Clubhouse, like that new app, like, people are going crazy for it because you cannot hide your voice. Like, you cannot be fake. If you're fake, people will just know and they're not going to pay attention to it.
Exactly.
It's crazy. Oh gosh. Well, what a great conversation. I do want you to, so you spoke a little bit about your mentorship program. Do you want to tell people where they can go to get involved with that? Like, I know you said your program's full right now.
Yeah, if you guys are curious, you can go to CLauTravelMentorProgram.com, and down below, you can actually click 2 buttons that'll allow you to join a free Facebook community. You could actually, yeah, I would sign up for the free Facebook community. I have like 7 or 8 videos, like quick tip videos in there already. I also show part of the hotel interview. So I had a hotel manager interview me, and you'll even see the question, Cello, that you asked. She said, I asked this hotel manager, what is, I think I asked her directly, what is one email that stood out to you out of all these content creators that reach out to you? If you can name one email from anyone that really stood out to you where you wanted to say, yes, I want to work with them, what is that time? She was like, is it okay if I use you as an example? I was like, okay. Like, I didn't expect it because this interview was for my mentor program. And she just went off and said how everything is so professional and what I've done is extremely professional. And that's why she worked with me. So if you guys are interested, honestly, I want to launch round 2 in the next month or 2, at least the interview process. I might be changing it up, and I might be doing it in a different structured format. It's still going to be a mentor program hands-on, but I want to be able to help more people at once. But we'll see. Like, I'm still figuring that out. Like, I want to make sure these 8 work, and I want to make sure everything's successful. I want to make sure everything's good before I launch the round 2 idea. But yeah, check out CLau Travel, SEELAU travelmentorprogram.com, and click on the Facebook group below and join the free community at least. That's what I would say.
Awesome. And is there the best way for people to be able to reach you? Just on Instagram and YouTube? How would you recommend people to reach out to you?
You can email me, clautravel@gmail.com if you have any direct questions or really want. I'd say if you really have any direct questions, DM me on Instagram. Just send me a quick DM. That's easy. If it's more business, like, I don't know if you want to work with me, send me an email. Otherwise, I'm always down to collaborating. If anyone's in Thailand, feel free to drop by. Definitely send me a DM. I'm in Bangkok. I have a lot of good info out in Thailand and a lot of good knowledge out in Thailand. So if anyone's passing through, come say hi.
I love that. No, definitely going to be hitting you up when I am able to get over there. I love that. Thank you so much, Christopher. I do have one last question for you. It's something that I ask everyone who comes on to my Travel Tip Tuesday. So it's a little deep, but I hope that I think you're going to have a great answer to it. So, or it's deeper. All right. So how has travel changed and impacted you in your life?
It's changed my life completely. I met my family. I have a baby. If it wasn't because of travel, I might still be at my 9-to-5 job, aimless direction, just playing tennis, blowing through money. Travel has hit me like a 360 wall so hard. Yeah, I don't know what else I could say. Like, I don't live in the US. I love what I do. I love what I do. And the best part about this travel and everything is once you escape that 9-to-5, you realize that the stress that the 9-to-5 gives you and this type of stress that travel and trying to build a brand gives you, but once you have some type of foundation with the brand, you rather deal with this stress than the 9-to-5 stress. And you keep running with it. You keep grinding. You keep putting in the effort and all the heart to make it successful. So travel has changed my mindset, like my life entirely, to a family. And if anyone's looking to do this, again, make sure you stand out. Make sure you're doing it in a professional way, especially if you're a small creator. We don't have, the big following like a lot of these guys. When you reach out to a hotel, you're known like that. So you need to do something a little differently. So, if anyone has any questions, DM me, check out the mentor program. I'd love to help the new age era of content creators because I feel like they're a lot more genuine than a lot of the people around these days.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love hearing everybody's answers because it's like, it's all very similar, but everybody kind of words it in a different way that's tailored to their own. So it's definitely impacted my life in ways that I could have never imagined. And it's just so incredible to be able to meet other travelers and hear the stories of everybody. Everybody has a different story. And it's just, it's inspiring. It's everything and more. So I truly appreciate you taking the time to come out and speak with everyone on my channel, and just about your life story. It was absolutely enriching for me. Great to hear your story, where you came from, how you're doing it, and just all of the amazing things that are to come for you too. I'm really excited to have met you and to have, a relationship with you now. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. And once you get out to Thailand, let me know. It was a pleasure speaking to you and answering all these questions. And I'd love to do this again if you ever need me.
Absolutely, will do. Well, everyone who is watching live, thank you guys so much for watching Christopher Lau with C Lau Travel. Go check him out on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of it. He has some amazing content out there. He is such an inspiration, and he is so genuine. As if you are just tuning in now and you didn't hear the conversation we just had, go rewatch it. Check him out on his channel and just see all the amazing things that he's going to do, because he's definitely going to be doing some awesome things in the future. And if you yourself are looking to escape that 9-to-5, then you definitely want to reach out to him and hear about that mentorship program and that Facebook community group. So very much appreciate you, Christopher. If you guys are watching as well, I do host this Travel Tip Tuesday every Tuesday with a new guest. We talk about travel in some way, shape, or form. So if you guys enjoyed this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I, again, do this every week. And you can also follow me on Instagram. If you have any questions for me specifically, you're welcome to DM me as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'm sure me or Christopher will get to them. So thank you guys so much. I will see you guys again next Tuesday. And Christopher, you have an amazing one. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.